We are in the third part of this video series of contractual phrases. We have been seeing about 20 phrases. And phrase number 21, we hereby give notice. So when you want to formalize a notice, please always include the word notice. And you can change the language to be assertive, or if you want more contractual, we will see in the next phrases. So this is a formal language for contractual notices. It shall be for delay, variation, or claim, whatever it may be. So here is an example. We hereby give notice under the clause 8.4 for the delay caused by late drawing approvals. So this is a formal notification which will act as an evidence, as a proof of delay in the later stages. This shall be considered as a formal notice or formal notification. This is a bit more contractual and little aggressive than the previous phrase. So it gives a very clear statement that this letter counts as the official notice. It means that you are going to face the consequences or the indirect things that are connected with the particular issues. For example, this shall be considered as a formal notification of the delay to the project schedule. Phrase 23, we hereby submit our claim. It's a very straightaway statement. You might have sent so many letters, previous letter of notifications. The notifications might have your rights on the claim to time and cost. And this is actually the claim. The notice is a separate part in the phase of the claim, and the claim itself is a separate phase in the entire claim cycle. So we hereby submit our claim for additional cost incurred due to acceleration measures. It's a straightaway statement, and when these phrases are being used, then it means that the issue has been elevated to the next level. We request your confirmation. So it's a polite request for written acknowledgement, often for notices or approvals or the cost submitted or time or cost that has been submitted. Here is an example for this phrase. We request your confirmation on the revised baseline program. This is usually done at 2 times when there is a clear time frame and the time frame has been exceeded by the party. For example, it might be an employer, so there is a drawing approval period for 14 days. And if the 14 days has been exceeded, then you can send it on the 14th day or the 15th day to get the confirmation. So this is a very normal and a very polite way of a phrase is being used in contractual letters. And phrase 25 is very important. We reserve our rights. So you might have seen this in so many letters at the bottom. Usually it's being written that we reserve our rights. So what is the actual meaning of this? It protects the party from waiving rights by silence. For example, if you are not refuting to a particular issue, or if you are not claiming contractually on a particular issue and the dispute is still being gray, it doesn't mean that you waive your rights being silent on them. So this is an disclaimer that it protects you from your rights and keeping the options open legally. For example, we reserve our rights to claim all associated costs once quantification is complete. Phrase 26, without prejudice to our rights. So it is a similar kind of phrase to the previous one, but it has a completely different meaning. So this statement ensures that this does not affect the rights under the contract for the party. So this is a standard closing scene claims. You might see this kind of statements at the bottom of the letters being discussed for the claims especially. For example, because you don't know to what extent the dispute will go. The dispute might be solved under negotiation, or the dispute might get escalated to the DAB, or to the arbitrations, or to mediations. However, creating an evidence or keeping the evidence always legally binding is more important. So better to use these kinds of words, because you don't know the ordinary email you are sending might be opened in a court in front of everybody. So better be clear in writing letters and contractual emails. So here is an example: without prejudice to our rights under the contract, we proceed as instructed. That means that we have a dispute now, and we call it as a claim, and you call it as it is under the scope. So we are discussing for a long time, and now we have concluded or decided to proceed with it. But however, that doesn't mean that we waive off our rights or without prejudice to your rights in the contract. Phrase 27, we put on record that. See, everything is on record. Whatever letter you write, that is going to be on record. But this is a statement saying that this document is going to be a record. Just to alert the other party, you are invited to abide by the contract. So here is an example. We put on record that the site handover was delayed by 2 weeks. Phrase 28, please treat this as a notice under class X. So this is similar to the previous classes we have seen, and this is very precise for a particular notice under a particular class. For example, because if you are using a class that only has a time entitlement, but later you are using that class for a cost entitlement, it may create ambiguity. So that's why you are very clear even in the subject or in the starting of the letter that please treat us as a notice under the class X. For example, please treat this as a notice under the class 20.1 for additional cost required. So it very clearly clarifies that this is the notice under the variation class. This is also a polite phrase and a very neutral tone being used, that we hereby notify that. For example, the subcontractor is unable to mobilize due to pending approvals. So this is a kind of that when the side of the party is weak, and they can write this as a notification, because even though the default of the subcontractor will be considered as a default of the main contractor, but end of the day, the wholesome responsibility is going to be under the main contractor. But still, it's his duty to inform the employer that there is an issue with the subcontractors, and the delays will be compensated or mitigated. Phrase 30, this letter serves us. So for whatever purpose you have to use this letter, you can definitely write this. For example, it might be for notice, it might be for a request, it might be for a claim, or it might be for a record. So this letter serves as a record, or this letter serves as a request or an extension of 21 days, whatever it may be. So with this, we come to an end of the third video, and we will enter into the part 4 and part 5 in the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. And please do comment if you want to discuss about any particular subject, and if you want to have any consulting on your career or consulting on your ongoing projects, especially for clients, please do connect with this. Thank you.